All right. Andy Ruiz says Anthony Joshua had talking some smack to Anthony Joshua about his luck, the lucky punch that Anthony Joshua landed ahead of this fight. This rematch is going to be taken for some strange reason in Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of back and forth going on, man. I'm looking forward to this fight big time. Let's talk about this fight and what Andy Ruiz said in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so we can be notified, so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also, I want to say special thank you to everybody that supports and encourages on the live stream, in the live stream community and in the Patreon community. Your support is essential to the success of this channel. Thank you guys so much. You know who you guys are. Please, you are invited to attend, and I hope you accept my invitation to attend OG Boxing Talk this Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time with my co-host Blood Boxing, KQKC Boxing, Trap House Boxing. There's a whole lot of people named Boxing, and Curtis Anderson, the only one that ain't got boxing in their name, but he's a heck of a boxing historian. You're going to love the show. Let's talk about Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua in a rematch of my favorite fight of the year. Oh, yes, it's my favorite fight of the year, and I am absolutely Team Petty, hashtag Team Petty on this one. I don't have a problem with Anthony Joshua really as a person. He seems like he's a nice enough guy. There's a whole bunch of people in the world that that you can take or leave, right? There's some people that you like a lot. There, people that you hang out with, you could be friends with. That's a very small group of people. There's a lot of people in the world who there's people in the world you can't stand. You guys just don't mesh. You would never want to be around them, right? And then there's people kind of in between that you can take them or leave them. You can be pleasant with, and that group of people. To me, that's Anthony Joshua, that middle group of people. I can take them, or I can leave them. It's not like Eddie Hearn. Like Eddie Hearn is in that group of people like, I can't stand you. I wouldn't want to be around you. I despise you. You lie too much, that type of stuff. But I don't really have a lot of animosity towards Anthony Joshua himself. It's just Eddie Hearn and Eddie Hearn's fans that talk so crazy about Deontay Wilder, the American boxing. They were just so full of themselves. I know you remember it. It was right before April. It was right before Anthony Joshua came to New York City and got knocked down 4 times and quit up against the ropes against Andy Ruiz. So, yeah, man, I'm laughing about it. And I'm looking forward to this fight because I do believe, before I get into the subject matter of this video, that Anthony Joshua more than likely is going to win the rematch against Andy Ruiz. And my reason is there's so much money and they moved it over there to Saudi Arabia. There's all kind of issues going on with therapeutic use exemptions and UCAD and the D-ball and with Dillian White and the gloves with Dillian White. That it's very hard for me to believe that these guys aren't going to stack that deck as heavy as they possibly can, and that Andy Ruiz is going to need a knockout to win. It's going to be like, a Canelo Alvarez. It's going to be like Canelo Alvarez times 2 as far as getting a decision against Anthony Joshua in this next fight. That's just me being a boxing fan for 40 years, watching these decisions, being able to, I have a fairly good feeling for the politics of fights and the kind of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, more so lately. Since I've had this channel, even more in touch because, you have friends in the boxing industry. Now, that said, Anthony Joshua, the weakness that Anthony Joshua could have in this fight is that he really believes the stuff that he's talking. And when he said that Andy Ruiz had a lucky punch and that punch was from the gods and that's not going to happen again, that's delusional. Okay, not the concept of you getting a punch from God, because hey man, I believe everything in the world has been created. So if it's been created, God dog, here go my dog. If everything has been created, if something's been created, there's a creator. But if what he means by that, so he got his punches from there, hey man, if what he meant was he got lucky, nah man. He did not get lucky. My dog is acting a fool and messing up my video. I'm not editing this again. Shut up. No, I do not believe that was a lucky punch, because he would have had to get lucky maybe 7 or 8 times. And he would have had to get lucky in 2 separate rounds, and then be lucky that AJ ain't have a chin, and then lucky Zeus. Lucky he ain't got a dog barking in the middle of his videos. I am not editing this stuff out. Anyway, so he didn't get lucky. What he did was he got knocked out. Now on the other side, Andy Ruiz comes back and says that the one punch that AJ hit Andy Ruiz with was lucky. That, my friend, man, has a higher likelihood to be true, because number one, he hit him with it once. He hit him with it was a big hook too. I'm telling you, man, Anthony Joshua got some power, man. That's a big, strong boy. That's a big, strong boy. When he hit him with that left hook and knocked him down, he didn't do it again. And Andy Ruiz was in the middle of some scrums and was continually pushing forward and prevented AJ from really landing that shot again. So I think there might be some truth to the fact that, that was a fortunate punch from Anthony Joshua, but like many great fighters before, I don't know if I would call Andy Ruiz a great fighter, but if he beats Anthony Joshua, he's well on his way to making an argument that he is. But what they say, a very, very good fighter, if you hit him with something once, they can prevent you from hitting him with that again. They make the adjustment, they take that away from you, and once that's taken away from you, then they can go about breaking you down. And apparently that's what happened with Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is a bad matchup for Anthony Joshua. Bad matchup for Anthony Joshua. He's a fighter that likes to fight, who has very, very fast hands, who obviously has a good chin, has good power, and is not afraid. That's a guy that I thought got into that ring against Anthony Joshua and was not afraid. Before, like Povetkin seemed like, besides being over the hill, I think Povetkin had a little fear in his heart. I think that Joseph Parker definitely had a lot of respect for Anthony Joshua, that by boxing on the outside and staying out, that maybe if he knew and trusted that he could get on the inside with Anthony Joshua and hit him with something, that he might have been able to knock him down. Of course, then he would have to have dealt with the referee at that fight that was definitely making sure that nobody got too close to Anthony Joshua. But anyway, man, I just think that that Andy Ruiz does run a risk if he thinks that he just has Anthony Joshua figured out, and that there's no adjustments that Anthony Joshua is going to be able to make that could cause him more problems. I just believe really that Andy Ruiz was just talking smack and cracking jokes, but it just makes me worry because, how big he got, because he was getting a little bit chubby. I mean, he's always a little chubby, but in between the fight and the fact that he's drained his weight back down, or he's, to where he looks like he's a lot smaller. I just hope that he doesn't do anything that's really out of sorts, or something that's dramatically different about his training camp, or that he underestimates Anthony Joshua, because, man, if he does, he can get knocked out, man. I mean, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Anthony Joshua, of his circumstance, but I do appreciate that he's a very good fighter, right? A little robotic, definitely has a fragile chin, but he's fought on big stages before. He's a very experienced fighter. I think one of the best attributes that Anthony Joshua has is that he's a very intelligent fighter. I think that he makes adjustments. I've seen him make adjustments in the ring very well. Now, he didn't do it with Andy Ruiz, but I've seen him in other fights, definitely like the Klitschko fight, where Klitschko was just beating him with a jab and straight right at the beginning of the rounds. He made an adjustment and was able to catch Vladimir Klitschko. One of the earlier things that impressed me about Anthony Joshua was his ability to think. But with the fast hands of Andy Ruiz, he might really not have as much chance to adjust. Look, man, if this fight was in if this fight was in if this fight was in New York again, or if this fight was in Vegas, if this fight was in LA, I would say, hey man, I got Andy Ruiz in this fight again. But the fact that this is over in Saudi Arabia with all the craziness that's going on in the UK, I think Andy Ruiz is going to need a knockout to even get it. I think he's going to need a knockout to get a decision. I think more than likely the ref is going to prevent them from doing any inside fighting. I just see a lot of real ganky shit going on in this fight, similar to Canelo Alvarez's fights. With these guys they consider to be cash cows or whatever, they just do so much funny stuff. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the fight. Let me know what you think about it. I kind of went on a little bit in this video. This dog distracted me, but it is what it is. I ain't remaking it. And with that, I'm out. Peace.